NASA is preparing for an asteroid impact. New study reveals it will hit Earth. An asteroid is on a collision course with Earth. Yeah, that's not just a sci-fi plot anymore. It's a reality that NASA is preparing for. Recent studies reveal that a massive asteroid could actually hit our planet, and NASA's been gearing up with emergency plans to prevent a global disaster. So, what's their strategy, and how serious is this threat? Today, we're taking a deep dive into NASA's preparations for an asteroid impact and what it could mean for all of us. Hold tight because this cosmic journey is about to get intense. The asteroid threat, what we know so far. So let's break it down. NASA's been tracking asteroids for decades, constantly watching the skies for any space rocks that might come a little too close for comfort. But recently, a study has revealed that there's a 350-meter-wide asteroid called Apus, with a high chance of hitting Earth sometime in the future. This asteroid has been on NASA's radar for a while, but the latest data has made scientists a little more worried. Now, what's the big deal about a 350-meter asteroid? For perspective, that's about the size of 3 football fields. And if that chunk of space rock crashes into our planet, the results wouldn't be pretty. Experts predict it could cause widespread devastation, creating a crater larger than a city and possibly triggering earthquakes, tsunamis, or worse. But here's the thing. NASA's not just sitting around waiting for this thing to drop. They've been prepping hard for a scenario like this, and we'll get into all that in a bit. But first, let's dive into how they discovered Apus in the first place and why it's a big deal right now. How did NASA discover Apus? Back in 2004, astronomers made a stunning discovery while scanning the skies at an observatory in Arizona. They found Apus, which at the time seemed like just another asteroid. But after analyzing its orbit and trajectory, the astronomers realized this wasn't just any space rock. It was on a collision course with Earth, potentially as soon as 2029. Since then, NASA's been keeping a close eye on it, refining their calculations, and trying to figure out exactly how close it will come. Thankfully, they've ruled out a collision in 2029, but the close call will alter its trajectory, potentially putting it on a dangerous path for future encounters, especially in 2036 and 2068. What makes Apus especially tricky is something called the Yarkovsky effect. This happens when sunlight heats one side of an asteroid, causing it to radiate heat and slowly change its orbit, and that makes predicting its pathway harder. The most recent data shows that Apus is drifting off its expected course, which is why NASA is back in high alert mode. NASA's Asteroid Defense Plan. All right, so what's NASA doing about all this? Do they have some sort of space shield or laser system ready to blast this thing out of the sky? Well, not quite, but they're definitely preparing some serious defense strategies. One of the most famous plans is the DART mission, or Double Asteroid Redirection Test. This is basically NASA's version of a cosmic bumper car. The idea is to send a spacecraft to deliberately crash into an asteroid, altering its trajectory just enough to steer it away from Earth. It's like playing pool in space. DART was recently tested in 2022 on a different asteroid called Didymos, and the results were pretty promising. It showed that we can change an asteroid's path with a direct hit. Now NASA is applying that knowledge to bigger threats like Apus. They're working on scaling up these missions so they can handle larger asteroids or ones with more erratic orbits. But what if DART fails, or there isn't enough time to launch a mission? Well, NASA's got a backup: nuclear options. Yeah, that's right. If things get really bad, we could theoretically detonate a nuclear bomb near the asteroid to blast it off course. However, that's a last resort since, well, no one's super keen on blowing up nukes in space. What would an asteroid impact look like? All right, let's say the worst-case scenario. Apus actually hits Earth. What happens? Would it be like in the movies where everything just explodes into chaos? Well, sort of, but it really depends on where it hits. If Apus crashes into land, we're looking at massive destruction in the immediate impact zone. Think about a blast the size of several nuclear bombs going off at once. Cities within a few hundred kilometers could be wiped out, and the dust and debris kicked up into the atmosphere could block sunlight for weeks, causing a mini-nuclear winter. On the other hand, if it hits water, and let's be real, most of Earth is water, we'd be facing enormous tsunamis. We're talking waves over 100 meters tall slamming into coastlines, wiping out coastal cities, and sending shockwaves across entire oceans. Yikes! However, even though it would be a disaster, it's important to note that Apophis wouldn't cause a mass extinction like the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. That one was over 10 kilometers wide, much bigger than Apophis. So, while the damage would be severe, humanity wouldn't be totally wiped out. But still, who wants to be around when that happens, right? How NASA is improving its tracking tech. NASA is also stepping up its game in tracking these potentially dangerous asteroids. Their new project is the NEO Surveyor, a space telescope set to launch in the next few years. This telescope will be dedicated to finding and tracking near-Earth objects, hence the NEO name, like Apophis. The goal is to give us as much warning as possible in case something big comes our way. The key here is early detection. The earlier we spot these space rocks, the more time we have to do something about them. With NEO Surveyor, NASA hopes to find about 90% of the asteroids larger than 140 meters that come close to Earth. This is crucial because smaller asteroids like Apophis can still cause massive damage, but they're harder to detect until they're practically on top of us. So NEO Surveyor will be our early warning system, keeping us one step ahead of any space threats. International collaboration for asteroid defense. It's not just NASA working on this, though. Space agencies from around the world are teaming up to defend Earth from asteroid impacts. The European Space Agency, ESA, JAXA, Japan's space agency, and Roscosmos, Russia's space agency, are all working together on various asteroid deflection techniques and research. For example, ESA's Hera mission is a follow-up to NASA's DART mission. After DART smashes into an asteroid, Hera will go check out the aftermath, studying the crater and the asteroid's new trajectory. This will give us even more data on how to deflect asteroids in the future. And let's not forget the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs. Yes, that's a real thing. They've got a whole team dedicated to planetary defense, coordinating international efforts, and making sure we're all on the same page if something big starts heading our way. What you can do, staying informed and prepared now. I know what you're thinking. Okay, this is all cool, but what can I do if an asteroid is heading toward Earth? Well, don't panic just yet. First off, NASA's got this under control for now, but it's always good to stay informed. One of the best things you can do is to follow NASA's updates on asteroids and near-Earth objects. They regularly release data and news about any potential threats. And if something serious is on the horizon, trust me, we'll all know about it. You can also get involved by supporting science and space exploration, whether it's through educational programs, space organizations, or even just spreading the word. The more we all know about planetary defense, the better prepared we'll be as a species. And who knows, maybe in a few years we'll be looking back on all this asteroid talk like it was no big deal. Just another bump in humanity's road to space exploration. The aftermath of a close call. What happens if an asteroid passes too close? All right, so let's say Apophis doesn't hit Earth, but it passes by at a dangerously close distance. What then? Can a near miss still cause chaos? The short answer is yes, kind of. Even if Apophis doesn't hit Earth directly, a close flyby can have some pretty intense consequences. For starters, there's gravitational pull. When a large object like Apophis comes close to Earth, it interacts with our planet's gravity. This tug of war could actually change Apophis's trajectory, making future passes even riskier. It's like playing cosmic roulette. Each close pass could alter the asteroid's path and potentially increase the odds of a collision down the road. But that's not the only concern. A close pass could also mess with Earth's magnetic field or even disrupt satellites and communication systems. Imagine if an asteroid zips by and suddenly knocks out GPS, phone signals, or even power grids. That could cause some serious chaos, even without a direct hit. In the end, even a close flyby can be dangerous. That's why NASA and other agencies are taking this so seriously. The goal isn't just to prevent a direct hit, but also to keep these space rocks as far away from us as possible. Futuristic ideas for deflecting asteroids. Now let's talk about the future. We've discussed NASA's current plans for asteroid defense, but what about some more out there ideas for deflecting space rocks? Believe it or not, there are a few futuristic concepts being tossed around that could become reality one day. One of the wildest ideas is the concept of using solar sails. Imagine a giant reflective sail made out of lightweight material attached to an asteroid. The idea is that sunlight would hit the sail, generating just enough pressure to slowly push the asteroid off course. It's like sailing through space on beams of light. This method would take years, even decades, to change an asteroid's path. But for space rocks we detect early enough, it could be a game changer. Then there's the idea of using gravity tractors. This isn't about towing an asteroid like you might pull a car, but it's actually simpler. You park a spacecraft near the asteroid, and the spacecraft's gravity slowly pulls it off course. Again, this would take a lot of time and precision, but it's a cool concept for the future of asteroid defense. All of these ideas sound like science fiction, but they could become reality as technology advances. The key is to develop multiple methods of defense, because as we've seen with Apus, asteroids can be unpredictable, and having several tools in our cosmic toolbox will give us the best shot at staying safe from these space rocks. There you have it. NASA's on high alert. New studies have us questioning the future of asteroids like Apus, and we're gearing up for the unthinkable. While the chances of a catastrophic impact are slim, for now, it's great to know that the best minds on the planet are working hard to protect us. Let me know in the comments. Do you think we'll ever face a serious asteroid impact in our lifetime? Don't forget to subscribe and like.